so I'm back with another Throne of Glass reading vlog. As you know, I did a reading vlog for Assassin's Blade, which is the book of novellas for this series. I'll link that video up in the card symbol. So this is going to be a spoiler vlog. So if you have not read Throne of Glass, which I feel like most people have at this point, I think I'm just the last person on the planet to read it. But if you have not read it, I definitely would not watch this video because I'm going to be talking about stuff in the book. So this book is about 400 pages long. I was thinking about maybe doing a clip every 50 to 100 pages. That way it's not excessively long, but as you can see, I've already started annotating it. A lot of tabs just for the first 50 pages. This, for me, is picking up right where Assassin's Blade leaves off, even though Assassin's Blade was published after Throne of Glass. And it provides some really good insight and perspective to what actually has happened in the Assassin's Blade. So we know that Celaena Sardothien ends up in the mines as a slave, essentially, because of the fact that she was betrayed. So in the beginning of this one, she is met by the prince, the crown prince of Ardalan, and he has propositioned her to become his champion, to become the assassin for the king of Ardalan. I think what is so interesting about this is that you kind of see the heartbreak and tribulations that Celaena has gone through prior to this book. You know that she loses Sam in Assassin's Blade, and that he was brutally murdered. So in here you can kind of see the reservation that she had. One of the parts that really stuck out to me was that in the beginning, where she meets the Crown Prince of Ardalan, she kind of describes the fact that she tried to escape the salt mines. And everybody knows that when you escape the salt mines, the first thing they do is basically put an arrow in your back. And she intentionally tried to escape, and the prince was like, well, you knew that you weren't going to make it over the wall and that it was a suicide attempt. And she said, yeah, I know. So you can kind of see that she's having some extreme emotional issues due to the betrayal that happened in the first book. I think that we see her become a lot more reserved. She's not trustworthy. She doesn't really deal with too many people. Even the lady that was assigned to her to kind of help her clean up before she meets the king, she doesn't trust her at all. And it's kind of sad to see her go from such a lively individual to kind of being so glum. There are parts, because I marked them in pink. I think there's only like 2 parts in here, but there's 2 tabs in here in pink where I did see her sense of humor kind of break through, more so than I anticipated. But I'm so glad that Meg convinced me to read the Assassin's Blade first, because I think that it provided a lot of context for this novel. So I'm at the point now where she has been taken back to the glass castle, and she's just been dressed and fitted in a new outfit to meet the king, and she's on her way to meet the king. Now, this is my second time reading this book, but I read it back in 2014, so that was 6 years ago. I gave it 4 stars then, so I'm interested in seeing how my perspectives, thoughts have changed. But so far, so good. And I will check in when I've read about another 50 to 100 pages. Hey y'all, so I'm checking in again. I have read another 50, 75 pages, something along those lines of Throne of Glass. I just got to the part where Celaena is basically she has to go before the king, and she has to talk about, well, kind of agree to his terms. She also meets this lady. Her name is Lady Kaltane. I don't know how to say her name. I thought it was Caitlin, but it's not Caitlin. But we get introduced to her. She's not the nicest person, and Celaena from Assassin's Blade, I can see, has had the worst experiences with women. But then she does meet the princess from, here we go again with me about to butcher this name, Iolwe? I don't know. I need to look up a pronunciation guide. Well, she meets the princess Nehemia from there, and I see like a good friendship starting to bud between them, but I'm kind of nervous because after reading Assassin's Blade, and then even there was a section where she kind of talks about the Silent Assassins of the Red Desert. So that was one of the short stories that was in that collection, and how things really just did not work out between her and the other girl whose name I forget. So I know she's nervous about starting new friendships, but I think they may be a good alliance between them. The only thing that I'm not really feeling right now is that I think there's going to be a love triangle between Celaena, Dorian, and Kale. And that's going to be frustrating because I hate love triangles. I hate love triangles in YA. It just, they're never really well written. So I'm interested to see how that's going to go and whether that's going to play out the way I think it's going to play out. But I'm not 100% interested in seeing that love triangle. I still think that Celaena, she's kind of like arguing against Dorian's decision to make her a jewelry thief instead of an assassin, instead of Arlen's assassin. And she frustrated me because she was like, I don't want to be named a petty jewel thief. And it's like, but you don't want people to know how strong you are either, because if people know how strong you are, then what's going to end up happening is that they are, they're gonna plot for you. Whereas Kale had told her, well, listen, if they don't know who you are, they're not gonna watch you to think you're just a petty jewel thief. They're gonna be worried about fighting off the stronger people like Cain. They're not gonna be too concerned about you. And it took all of that for her to finally get it. So that, she always teeters on a fine line with me when it comes to like that confidence and arrogance. And I think a lot of times her arrogance gets her in a lot of trouble. I think her arrogance is going to get her in a lot of trouble, but it's good to see her like back up in training. And she's good, but she's lost a lot of like being in shape and her tactical skills from being at the salt mine. So I'm also at the part where like they're getting up and they're training and stuff. So I'm really interested to see how this first competition is going to go. Of course, I think there was a hint that some things are going wrong. I think there was some hunting dogs, something along those lines, that ended up disappearing, and then their bodies turned up mutilated. And I think that's the first sign that something is about to go wrong. So that's interesting. What I do like is that since we read Assassin's Blade first, I am getting to see the context of some of these more difficult some more of these more difficult personality traits and why she acts certain ways in certain positions. So far so good. I think it's looking like a solid 4 stars right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing where else it'll go. Hopefully I can get another 75 to 100 pages read, and then I'll do another check-in. So I'm back with another update. I am now 200 pages into Throne of Glass. I'm enjoying it. I am at the section where Celaena is starting to figure out that there are some really bad things that are happening within the castle, and she meets the first queen of I don't want to say the place wrong. Irelia. So she meets the first queen in a dream. I'm starting to see the remnants of a love triangle go on between Celaena, Kale, and Dorian, which I'm not a huge love triangle type person, so I think we can kind of do without a love triangle. I don't feel like we need a love triangle. That's just my opinion. I don't know. That's just how I am. I am very confused. So with these word marks, it seems like it's something that's quite ritualistic. So I'm interested in, I've read this once before, but I don't remember exactly how this ends, but something tells me that Cain has something to do with it, because Celaena and the princess of Nehemia the princess of what city is she? The Ilue. I always say that wrong. I should look for a pronunciation guide first of all. But I think that she definitely the princess knows more than what she's saying. As much as like she's trying to tell Celaena like, oh, I don't know what the word marks mean. I don't know. I don't know like what they stand for. Like part of me feels like she's not telling the truth. And I'm so nervous about Celaena trusting her, because the last time Celaena trusted a woman, she ended up in a really precarious situation. So I'm hoping that this doesn't end up being one of the situations where she ends up trusting this woman and she ends up getting betrayed. But it's so interesting to see the dynamic between Dorian and Chaol, and how like Chaol's like, sorry for the wind, y'all. I mean, I can't help the wind, but you can probably hear in the video. It frustrates me that Chaol like tells Dorian, oh, you don't need to be visiting her bedchambers, you don't need to be coming to see her, she's an assassin. And it's like, but Chaol, come on now, let's be real with yourself. You don't want Dorian to come visit her because you like Celaena, and you don't want him to have a one-up on you because he's so good at wooing and convincing these women to like basically get in the bed in the sheets with him. I mean, let's keep it 100. So I hope that they don't let their feelings for Celaena ruin their friendship. That'll really piss me off, because they've been friends for so long. They're like childhood friends, and you know, Chaol gave up his spot, and it just, I don't, his spot up for a throne. Like I feel like their friendship is so solid. Like they have a true good friendship, and I don't want a romantic situation to mess that up, which I think would end up irritating me. But like I said, I'm about 200 pages in, 205 to be exact. And we're about to see what exactly is going to happen, and how this whole situation with the first queen is going to play out. I think that it's going to be such an intriguing situation, but I'll do a check-in later. You gonna tear my book up. Hey y'all, so I'm here to do an update for Throne of Glass. I am currently 327 pages in. I have thoughts. So I have gotten past the part where Celaena meets the supposed half fake queen, first queen. And then I have also gotten past the part where she's trying to figure out who has this creature coming, and she thinks it's Nehemia, and she's trying to figure out why Nehemia would do something like that to her. But it was so clear, y'all, that it had to do with Cain and Parrington, the Duke. It was so apparent, and I'm like so confused as to why there were so many things that Mask threw into here about like Cain's eyes turning black, Parrington's eyes turning black, and like all of a sudden it goes left field and Celaena's like, oh, I think it's Nehemia. And it's like, how could you possibly think it was her when both her and Chaol both saw, well, she saw Cain's eyes go black and Chaol saw Parrington's eyes go black. So I'm really confused as to why they even, I don't know. I don't know whether it was like they just thought maybe like it was just a figment of their imagination or something. I don't know what they thought, but I know if I was sitting at a dining table like Chaol was sitting at dinner and someone's eyes like literally turned like go black, I would think that there was something wrong. So the fact that nobody suspected Cain or Parrington blew my mind, because even when she found out that by sacrificing the creatures, when the creature was brought, and a human was sacrificed, it makes him stronger. She had already noted earlier in the book that Cain was getting stronger, like not just like he was getting stronger, but he looked bigger. So if you have already said that, or you've picked up on that, and then you read this dialogue that says that, not make that connection. So that part of it really bothered me, because I felt like it was very obvious who was behind it or who is behind it. And like, her and Kale just can't seem to make the connections. Like they're completely oblivious. And as a reader, it's like really frustrating to know that they're making these points or these observations, and then they're not connecting the dots when it's really not that difficult to connect the dots. So and that part was just frustrating me. Another part that's frustrating me is like this love triangle thing where like Dorian is pining for Selena, Selena's pining for Dorian, but Kale is pining for Selena, and Selena is kind of, I don't know, possibly into Kale, but can't make up her mind, and Kale and Dorian are like best friends. I don't like the fact that their friendship, like Dorian and Kale's friendship, is being put on the line because they both are interested in Selena, and it's just a weird pairing, and it's just super super awkward. And then I just don't see how this is gonna work with Dorian being the crown prince. How would it possibly work for him and Selena to even be together? To me, that just doesn't make sense. It's just, I don't know. It's just a weird pairing type of thing. Um, I also feel like Nehemia knows a lot more. Of course, she knows a lot more because I got up to the part where like Selena goes down there. I don't even know how, because she didn't know either, but I don't know how Cain was able to take her knife from her, and then she was put against that creature, and then she gets bitten, and then Nehemia saves her, and it's like they don't talk about the fact that she used the word marks and that she's well versed in them, and clearly she's performing magic. I guess in the next like 75 pages or however many pages I have left, I'm waiting for like a big reveal of how Nehemia is connected to all of this. But I think that that's an interesting element. The King of Arlen also just came back, so I feel like he has some interest in the word gates and how they connect to other worlds. And this is also something that I kind of noted in my own notations in here. I kind of noted that um I think that I have this weird feeling that, or I kind of have looked at it, but I try not to look at it too much because I heard that Throne of Glass and after the ACOTAR series are connected. They're in the same universe. So I'm wondering if like the word gates are how these two universes would be connected. And now I'm interested to see if Sarah J. Maas has ever thought about possibly like connecting um connecting the two together type situation, or connecting this one, the Crescent City series, and ACOTAR together. That's just a random thought. If that eventually will all come together in this big world, kind of like, Brandon Sanderson does like the Cosmere universe type thing. Like, I wonder if that's kind of what she's going for. That's just a random thought. Thinking what else I've seen that I really liked. I still, as much as I get frustrated with Selena, she still does have some really like badass moments. There's this scene where, she's being challenged by Cain and his lapdogs and his lackeys. And she basically like kicks dude's butt and it's like, if you ever try that again, I'll gut you. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. I'm feeling that energy and vibe. But I did like watch someone's video where they talked about an issue that they really have with like Throne of Glass in this series is that, Selena kind of says like, I don't need a man, I don't need a man. But then like you kind of see some aspects where she does like fall into these romances that are slightly awkward. So it's kind of like an oxymoron type thing that's going on. But I don't think I'm gonna rate it as high as the Assassin's Blade. I love the stories in Assassin's Blade. In this one, I'm finding some things that a little bit more problematic for me. It's probably sitting at like a 3.75, 3.5 right now. Um, and then I'll see what happens. Depending upon how it ends is going to determine a whole lot. But I'll figure it out. I'm still annotating it like crazy. Baby's over here playing with the tabs, but you can see how many tabs are in here. It's a lot of tabs in here, a whole lot of tabs. But I'm still working on annotating it, and like I said, I'll be done by today, because my goal and what I promised myself was that I would be finished on April 30th. So I will finish this book today, April 30th. And then that way, May, I will be reading Crown of Midnight. And hopefully, if Meg and I finish Crown of Midnight quick enough, we can go ahead and start Heir of Fire as well. But that's it for my check-in. The next time I check in, I'll be giving my final thoughts and my rating for it. So I'll catch you guys later. Hey y'all, so I'm back with my final update for Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I finished it yesterday, which was April 30th. Yeah, so I finished it yesterday, and I only gave it a 3.75 stars because I had so many problems with it, but the ending was so good. I had no idea that the king was as involved as he was, and I had no idea that Parrington was as evil as he was towards Kaltain. I think that's how you say her name. That sucked that she did all of that, and the whole time he was manipulating her. I was trying to figure out for the longest time. I was like, why is she having these headaches, and why is she feeling so yucky all the time whenever he's around? And it just all tied into it, and you know, finding out that the king is well versed in word marks, and he is capable of reading them. He saw the word mark that's on Celaena's forehead. Like, it was mind blowing, because I really honestly, like, I was sitting more so at like a 3-star, and then when I saw that ending, I was like, okay, I'll bump it up to 3.75. But the love triangle and kind of like the stupidity that kind of went on a little bit is what prevented it from being 4 stars or higher. I just think that there were some serious flaws in how Maas wrote the plot, because parts of it just didn't make sense, that I thought like it just wasn't logical. But other than that, I did enjoy it. That ending, that fight scene between Celaena and Cain was definitely very hard to read. Like, she's so talented. She is such a good fighter. And then to kind of see her fall apart was super, super hard. Like, that was super hard to read. I definitely became Team Chaol after that fight scene, because it was like, even though the king was watching, like, he made an effort to be like, I need to make sure that I encourage her. I need to make sure that I encourage her to do well. That I encourage her to get up and not to give up. And, you know, Dorian kind of just sat there because he's so scared of his dad. So, and it's also the fact that Chaol killed Cain on Celaena's behalf. Like, to me, he's just a better choice of the two, but, you know, that's just me. But that's it. Those are my thoughts. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I did, in the card description above at the beginning of the video, or left a card description at the beginning of the video of my reading vlog for the Assassin's Blade. I will be picking up Crown of Midnight in the month of May and doing a reading vlog for that one as well. So stay tuned for that. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Let me know in the comment box below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button. And as always, I'll be back with another video soon. Bye.